You made your way through.
I did.
Swam through the air.
Until the Kiwi FM skyscraper was looming in front of me. I knew where I was.
Actually, not a good day to be a billboard advertiser because you can't see them.
Well, you can't see the billboards. That was a nice segue. No, you wondered where I was going. You pulled it back. Yeah. On a day like this, your billboard has to be simple, direct, to the point. And the other day I was driving around and I saw a billboard that was none of those things, and it was for the Labour Party. And the billboard said, and I'm struggling to remember it because I was stopped at the lights and I couldn't even read the whole thing. It was sort of a tick box thing. It said, tick box 1, let's back National's plan to sell off the assets, send the profits overseas, and fly around in helicopters or whatever it was. Yeah. And tick box 2 was let's not, and it was signed off Labour. My first thought was, that's a long billboard. It's a really long billboard. I mean, 0 is a good number of words to have on a billboard. Anything more than that's a compromise.
The colour red might have just worked.
Well, I suppose the colour red. And then the second thought is, well, Labour's not saying anything positive about themselves. They're just saying, these guys are bastards.
Yeah.
Dug a bit deeper and found out that this is the fruits or the seed, perhaps, of a build your own billboard campaign. And I think, the website is makeyourownbillboard.co.nz. So you can go there, type in your own checkbox and your own let's not or whatever you want, and it gets moderated, and the successful ones go onto the online gallery,
right? And
the really successful ones, I guess, they run as Labour election billboards.
And so you've gone to makeyourownbillboard.co.nz and created your own one.
I had a go. What do you think? What does it say? I can't remember. It says you can read it. Let's
use the same advertising trick the Greens did in 08 and TUI has been using for years. Or let's not.
Yeah. User-generated billboards. I mean, TUI's been doing, has been putting the right formula out to the public for a very long time. And in the political area in 2008, Special, which is an Auckland advertising agency, and the Greens did a fantastic campaign, and they just used the headline "Vote for Me," and this started off with just a picture of a little girl standing on a. In fact, it was the photographer's daughter. There's a long and cool story which I won't go into, but then they put it open to the crowd and allowed you to upload any photo you liked with the Vote for Me on the front. And it was a really powerful campaign.
It went really social, didn't it? People used that as their Facebook profile, their own picture on a green billboard.
Yeah, so rampantly successful. I mean, that being said, if I'm the Labour Party and I'm given the choice of do I do a campaign that's original, or do I do a campaign that is likely to work? Of course, I default towards likely to work. But I mean, the sweet spot is both original and likely to work. So good luck with that.
This all did spring out of, I think it was not from the parties themselves, but I think it was a previous election, maybe 05, where people were taking the piss out of National Party billboards.
Oh, the Iwi Kiwi.
And I think some web developers created this platform to be able to do that.
Yeah, so there's a long history of hacking political billboards, and I guess Labour's tried to take it into their own hands. And we'll see how it goes. And it's the first shot of the election campaigns.
I know Trevor Mallard's giving it a big push online.
He's giving a big nudge on Twitter. It's he's owning that space.
He certainly is.
Yeah. Not earnest, like not an earnest way of Claire's listening in, but he's giving it a nudge, which is good.
All right, let's move on to Osama. What do you got to say about Osama? Where does that fit into?
Oh well, this is I love this. This is topical newspaper advertising, and one of the great things about being in an ad agency is if you see an opportunity for a client and press the button and get things moving, you can have a cool, topical, relevant ad in the paper the next day. And this is what the people at Barnes Catman did for their client Hell. The moment Osama had been knocked on the head, which I think was at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon our time, something like that. They're on the phone to their client, on the phone to the press, and on the phone to the Herald rather. And the next morning, this appeared in the paper.
Right below the story, Bin Laden's death sparks market rally was the headline of the story, and then right below that was the ad. Come in, Osama, we've been expecting you.
Yeah, with a Hell logo. So nice. Return to, as we were saying the other week with the Hell Cross buns, is sort of a return to form for Hell, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And that's why newspaper advertising still works. You couldn't do that in a magazine. You couldn't do that on TV.
No. Let's move on to the social media section. Auckland is on Facebook.
Yeah, some figures released a couple of days ago by UMR Research, and confirmed what kind of everyone thought is, we're self-obsessed and we spend too much time on our iPhones. Aucklanders have an average of 161 Facebook friends compared to the national average of 124. So we're more friendly, more gregarious, perhaps.
Bigger city.
We're just wasters, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe we have more friends in general. I mean, if you live in Gore, you couldn't have 161 friends because it's only 159 people.
But then how many of those are actual friends, of course? Isn't the status 115 people your mind can actually cope with? Anything beyond that?
I hadn't heard that. Is that right?
There was some
beyond that, it just turns into white noise.
Here's me going, some study sometime in the past said that.
The man in the pub said. But there's a couple of interesting statistics sort of deeper down. It said 35% have friends on Facebook whom they haven't met. And I thought that's quite a low number because I've got lots of friends on Facebook and Twitter that I haven't met. I guess you're the same. But
Though I do try to divide. Twitter is more mostly actually people I haven't met, but I'm enjoying having conversations with. Facebook for me is more about the people I definitely have met on more than one occasion.
True. So people do treat it differently.
Yeah.
The other, there's a bunch of interesting statistics in there, but the other two interesting things is that about half of online New Zealanders are using it, so 45% of New Zealanders in total. But still, we're only 23rd in the world in terms of per capita participation. So we're not as Facebook crazy as a lot of places. So could do better, New Zealand.
Interesting. That's great research.
Shall we go flying?
We shall go flying. Tell us about this weird and crazy video you found.
This was as nutty as a squirrel's poo. This was pushed to me by Ben Gracewood, NZ Ben, on Twitter. And it hasn't really been an internet sensation yet, but I predicted it will be on the 6 o'clock news tonight. This is a Tupolev 154, which, if you remember the old Boeing 727, which was that sort of regional jet with airliner with three big engines in the tail.
Yeah.
This is on a test flight somewhere in Russia, and the test flight went terribly wrong. It had been in storage, according to rumour, for up to 10 years, and they basically polished the windscreen, put some fuel in the tanks, and off they went. Sadly, the flight controls didn't quite work properly, and in some of this footage, the thing has been tossed around. It looks like a model aeroplane to me. I can't imagine what it must be like in this is like a 150-seat jet, being thrown around like this. Absolutely terrifying.
I guess if you can imagine, it's the back of it just swinging around, but it's not only just swinging around; it's also its nose is going up and down.
Yeah, it's sort of doing these crazy figure eights in the air. So there's still some talk that there was a lot of talk originally. Maybe this is a hoax, a viral, maybe it was a model because it looked like it flying like a model. But then Pravda, and if you remember, Pravda was the official journal of the Workers' Party, back from 1917, the Soviet newspaper, now has a website, ran a story 4 hours ago saying, it really happened. It was brought to official attention via YouTube, so this is pretty cool. So YouTube, social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, are driving sort of government awareness of this, and now there's an investigation underway in Russia.
Well, first of all, I want to know, did they actually land this thing?
Well, yeah, but there are some photos of exactly that type of aeroplane on that kind of day landing. There's no continuous video between the two, so conspiracy theorists might say, maybe it's not the same one. But everything points towards it having landed successfully. And if it did, it was astounding. I mean, one thing that might have happened is all the flight controls failed. The hydraulics failed. And if that happened, they may well have been flying that puppy on differential engine power. And when all your three engines are quite close together in the tail, that would be really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
And the as you say, this was taken in Russia, and you can hear people speaking Russian in the background. No one seems overly concerned. I mean, I don't understand Russian, so I don't know what they're saying.
They're about as calm and collected as the New Zealanders on all those tornado videos we're watching a couple of. Oh there's a trampoline.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit of roof and iron flying up there. Yeah. But that was interesting. The whole tornado thing. It was like the earthquake on a smaller scale. All the same stuff. The misinformation. The harbour bridge is closed. It's not closed. 2 people have died. 3 people have died. One person's died. Which is a tragedy in itself. And what it brought home to me though is there's no point in watching 6 o'clock news because we'd seen all the video. We'd seen it all raw. We'd heard all the first-hand accounts. It's not like a story you can analyse. There's no backstory.
No.
There's no.
I didn't feel like I needed it. Yeah.
Yeah. We'd seen it already. But then, as someone from the Herald pointed out to me, because a couple of the media outfits were asking, saying, please, they're saying on Twitter, please send us your stuff, send us your eyewitness accounts, all that sort of stuff. And I sort of responded churlishly, oh, why? Well, we've already seen it.
Yeah.
We want to put it up again.
Because one thing I did notice when it did go to those outfits, particularly TV, the videos ended up being edited. In fact, I noticed even some sound was taken from one particular video and then overlaid over the top of the
and
other.
TV3 did that really disreputable, bordering on unethical thing where they put music over it.
Because this tornado needs strings.
It really needs strings. Yeah, and this happened back in the September Christchurch earthquake as well. They had some. One of the networks had some security camera video of stuff falling off shelves in a supermarket, but they foleyed it. They added sound effects.
Yeah.
You don't get sound on security cameras, but they thought, oh, this is not interesting enough for news, so they souped it up.
They got the dude out the back on the emotional key on the keyboard. Boom.
Yeah. Well, throwing tin cans off his desk to mimic the supermarket catastrophe.
Indeed. Well, head to tgf.co.nz for a whole lot more. Paul Davis on Twitter as well. Thanks very much.